I'm Rita Sheffy, the Assistant Dean for Public Service at Emory Law. This work is so important to me because I'm passionate about serving others and giving back, and I'm able to leverage that passion to 1,000 law students at Emory Law and to see them pursue their passions.
What got me interested in a career in public interest, I would have to say, was police brutality. Growing up in my neighborhood, I saw a lot of it, and I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to become a lawyer to try to help make some changes when it comes to that, and I've been at it ever since. What I say to people who say you can make way more money at big firms is, if it's about the money, there are easier ways to make money than to go to law school. For me, it's not about the money. It's about the impact and the change that you can make in a community that needs impactful change.
I decided to study immigration law based on my experience working with refugees in Jordan in undergrad. I studied Arabic and spent a good amount of time in Jordan working with an organization that helps refugee women and girls kind of rebuild their education after they've been displaced for a while. And it was just so inspiring for me to work with people who are so resilient and take so little and turn it into something that furthers their own families and creates a stronger future for themselves. And being able to walk beside someone through a very difficult and heart-wrenching procedure that involves sometimes being torn apart from their families or not knowing where their next home is going to be is incredibly rewarding.
I think one of the mandates that all top law schools have, whether implicitly or explicitly, is giving back to their community, whether that's the local community, the large illegal community, or the national community. And part of the way they need to do that is through pro bono opportunities. Students need to be aware that there are multiple paths for them. It's not just necessarily going in-house. It's not necessarily just going to a firm. And in fact, students should have to consider those, because the individuals who are pro bono attorneys are some of the hardest working people you'll ever meet. And they're giving back to their community in such an impactful way. And that reflects well upon their law school. So Emory Law does a great job of explicitly reminding students that there are multiple forms of career paths for them, and that if they want to choose pro bono, the opportunities are there.
The EPIC grant is life. Without the EPIC grant, I would definitely not have been able to pursue public interest over the summer, because I do have bills to pay. So the grant helped me to pay my bills, pay to get to work, from work, eat, all that good stuff. But I don't see how I would have been able to do a public interest job over the summer without the EPIC grant. It just wouldn't have happened.
The EPIC grant has allowed me to do both of my summer internships in public interest and not have to feel pressured to do a big law internship or something that I wasn't interested in. I was able to intern with the Access to Law Foundation doing family and immigration law work during my first summer. And then my second summer, I was in the Atlanta Legal Aid Gwinnett office, again delving into immigration work that I was really passionate about, and it's really prepared me for a future in practicing public interest immigration law.
I absolutely think that it's important for every student at Emory Law to have some exposure to public interest and public service. Not only those who are going to go into public interest careers, but also because other students are going to go into practices in a big firm such as I did, and being able to recognize the importance and the value of pro bono work and how you can incorporate that in your legal career. We talk about it here at Emory Law that every student should be able to incorporate public service into their legal career no matter which path they take.
So I really wouldn't have been able to pick the summer internship that I did if it weren't for the EPIC grant. I was at an unpaid government position at the Social Security Administration, and coming from a low-income family with zero college education, it just wasn't attainable for me to rely on any sort of family assistance or any sort of alternative assistance method. So I really did rely upon EPIC to help me fund my summer internship and allow me to really choose the position that I wanted and that I thought would advance my career the best. And I really thank them for that.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 25th anniversary of the EPIC Inspiration Awards. My name is Aubrey Aganaga, and I have the great honor of serving as EPIC's president this year. It is an honor particularly because of the wide impact EPIC has on students in the Atlanta legal circle, and most importantly, in the surrounding communities. EPIC not only strives to connect students with grants to pursue their dream jobs, but offers students legal experience through volunteering while also providing support for community members. Our student members work hard to give each other insight and support in navigating the public interest field. They work hard to guide their mentees on the public interest hiring process. They put time into fundraising so students can receive grants, and they volunteer their time to support the community with their legal skills. In addition to our current students, the support provided by our community of alumni is essential to our mission. EPIC is lucky to have fostered such a long-lasting community of attorneys who have persisted to support us even after their time at Emory. And last but not least, EPIC is grateful to have a community of donors who see the value in public service and enable our members to pursue their public interest dreams in the summer. While we are fortunate to be back in person, we acknowledge how challenging it is to navigate the functions EPIC typically performs in an ever-evolving pandemic. Therefore, it is important to take the time to thank the board for all their hard work in ensuring that EPIC runs as smoothly and effectively as it always has. So we want to thank our 1L rep, Emma Mansberg, who has provided valuable insight into the 1L experience by collecting and analyzing surveys and keeping us up to date on 1L scheduling to ensure that we provide events that cater to 1L needs. Also, our volunteer coordinator, Sammy Harrell, who has worked hard to foster new connections to the community by setting up a new volunteering clinic with the DeKalb County Public Defender's Office and keeping students up to date on other opportunities. Our special events coordinator, Matt Rohr, has organized several books fairs, networking events, and workshops to ensure that students have accessible resources and connections. Our conference co-chairs, Rachel Kennedy and Emily Spears, spent their summer organizing an informative and pressing conference focusing on the impacts of gentrification in Atlanta. And our communications chair, Shelby Peak, consistently presents people with job opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and current events in her monthly newsletter. Our grant coordinator, Lizzie Moore, has promoted resources to help students find additional funding and ensure she's on top of communication and transparency regarding the grant. Our treasurer, Nicole Falcone, for working hard to manage our funding and ensuring every event is a success. Our vice president, Chelsea Vornoff, paired mentees and mentors and ensured that every student was guided by an upperclassman in their field. And of course, recognition must be given to the Inspiration Award co-chairs, Elena Trilling and Madison Dodge, for creating an event to celebrate the behind-the-scenes work that EPIC does, to highlight the students, faculty, and community members who are dedicated to serving the public interest. And last but not least, we want to thank the faculty and staff who work closely to support EPIC. First and foremost, Dean Sheffy, along with Stephanie Dingle, Serena Hawley, Kenyatta Greer, Georgette Thin, and Sierra Copeland. The work that EPIC community has put into serving the public interest, despite all obstacles thrown at them, is truly inspiring and something worth celebrating. So we thank you for joining us in the 25th anniversary of the Inspiration Awards as we honor the students of Emory Law, past and present, who inspire us to remain dedicated to our communal responsibility of service. I would now like to introduce a huge supporter of EPIC, Emory Law, Dean Babinski.
Thanks very much, Aubrey. I think if we were all in a room together, as we might wish we were, you'd be hearing thunderous applause right now. And all of the people who you've talked about, the student leaders and people who've supported EPIC over the last year, really deserve that type of applause. This organization is so important and a core of the law school. And I just join with everyone participating tonight in applauding the efforts and activities that you've engaged in over the past year. And of course, tonight we're here celebrating the 25th anniversary of the EPIC Inspiration Awards, this long track record of generosity and commitment of so many people, hundreds of people who've made extraordinary work possible on behalf of people in the community and who've given students access to experiences they otherwise wouldn't have had, as we just heard in the videos that started off this evening. Just profound life-shaping experiences for students that are supported through the annual EPIC Awards. So tonight, we are happy to be joining together, even if virtually, for what has been a signature event for the law school over the years, and just a wonderful and inspiring way to start the spring semester. As you've been hearing, this event helps raise money that provides grants to Emory Law students are working in otherwise unfunded summer positions. They work with nonprofit organizations, with government agencies and judges. And I think we can all appreciate that this is extraordinarily important in every year, but particularly given what these organizations and entities have faced over the past couple of years with the challenges of the pandemic. So with just great demand and needs for our nonprofit partner organizations and governmental organizations, great needs in our communities, and just the important role that students have played in making sure that these organizations and the communities they serve have access to legal research support and other activities that the students engage in. And we really, I just want to pause and just say thank you so much for all the donors who've made the Epic Summer Awards in particular possible. So this event also does recognize all the organizations that take our students, the government, nonprofit, judges, and others who take in students and give them the opportunity to get access to practice-oriented experience. And so it's just a wonderful occasion and evening to celebrate everyone who comes together to make this important work possible. So before proceeding to the rest of the program, I do want to highlight a little bit about how EPIC and how the public service activities that we've talked about this evening actually provide a core aspect of the Emory Law program. We do have a strong commitment to public service at the law school, and our students have a number of different opportunities to gain practical experience and legal experience during their time in the law school. We've got a robust externship program through which many students are able to work in public interest organizations during the academic year. We have academic credit-bearing clinics like the International Humanitarian Law Clinic, the Turner Environmental Clinic, and the 3 clinics that are run through the Barton Center for Child Law and Policy. We also offer non-academic credit-bearing experiences, the volunteer clinics, and opportunities for students to earn pro bono recognition in a number of different community organizations. The non-credit-bearing volunteer clinics include the Emory Immigration Legal Assistance Program. It's now in its 4th year. Students in that program work with immigration attorneys to guide immigrants facing legal issues. We're celebrating the 9th anniversary this month of the Emory Law Volunteer Clinic for Veterans, which has been assisting veterans in obtaining much needed benefits, applying for discharge upgrades for those who suffer from PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, and also creating estate plans for veterans. And just in the past year alone, the Emory Volunteer Clinic for Veterans has hosted more than 10 virtual clinics and served more than 100 veterans. Over the past couple of years, the clinic has secured more than $5 million in backdated and future benefits for veterans and their families. And there are really just some inspiring stories of service to veterans and their families through that clinic, of people being able to provide access to compensation for the widow of an Air Force veteran, where the veteran had passed away from conditions caused by his service in Thailand during the Vietnam War, securing compensation benefits for a former helicopter pilot who developed prostate cancer after being exposed to Agent Orange, and just really meaningful service and contributions to the community and to our veterans who obviously deserve our unwavering support. So we've got these opportunities through externships, through the volunteer clinics, through academic credit-bearing clinics. But the crown jewel of all of this is the EPIC organization itself, the committee, the Emory Public Interest Committee that you heard a lot about a little bit earlier from Aubrey as she sort of detailed all of the students and all of their activities over the past year. So you heard, for example, about the Public Interest Conference that was held in October on issues of housing and gentrification. You've heard about the different programming and activities run for students, about the strong efforts to support this event this evening and the summer grant program. And I just want to recognize and thank Lena Trilling, Madison Dodge for their work in planning this event, and Aubrey Arganaga for her service as EPIC president, and of course all the other students who she referred to who've been so actively engaged in EPIC over the past year. I also want to recognize Assistant Dean for Public Service, Rita Sheffy, who advises EPIC and who leads the law school's public interest activities. Rita was recently joined in the Center for Public Service by Program Coordinator Georgette Finn, And with their leadership, the Center for Public Service advises students regarding public interest in government careers, assists students who are seeking judicial internships and clerkships, presents a wide variety of programming and opportunities to engage with students about pro bono volunteer projects, the volunteer clinics that I spoke about a moment ago, and really does a very important job fostering and supporting both the EPIC Summer Grant Program that we are here to talk about this evening, and Emory's Loan Repayment Assistance Program, the LRAP program. So I just want to thank Rita and the Center for Public Service that she's led for the strong impact that she and the center have had over many years, and being a center for focus and education about public service and public service through all the forms that we've talked about this evening, and also something that can be a career-long commitment for Emory Law graduates, no matter what position they hold, as Rita said a little bit earlier this evening. It's truly a great honor to be the Dean of a law school that has had such a strong focus and commitment to public service. Well, we're about to hear from Professor John Witte, who will be presenting this year's Mark and Rebecca Wasserman Public Service Award, which is an annual award given to the third-year student who has demonstrated outstanding commitment to public service. I want to offer my personal thanks and gratitude to Emory Law alumnus Mark Wasserman and his wife, Rebecca, who have so generously supported the Emory Law in many, many ways, including through the creation of this award, which is now named for them. So thanks very much to Mark and Rebecca. Professor John Witte will be giving this year's award. John Witte is a Robert W. Woodruff Professor of Law, a McDonald Distinguished Professor, and Director of Emory Center for the Study of Law and Religion. For those who don't know, the Woodruff Professorship is Emory University's highest honor, and it is truly an honor to work with John Witte and to have seen the impact of his own scholarship in law and religion, and of the profound impact the Center for the Study of Law and Religion has had here in bringing matters of important legal issues and public debates to Emory, and in having an impact in leading thought on those important topics around the world. So with that, we'll turn to Professor Witte.
Thank you, Dean Babinski. Each year, we solicit nominations for the Mark and Rebecca Wasserman Public Service Award from third-year law students, faculty, and staff alike. We are deeply grateful to the Wassermans and their family and friends for their generosity in creating this award. It recognizes a third-year Emory Law student who has exemplified the greatest commitment and contributions to public interest within and beyond the Emory public interest community. This year's Wasserman Award goes to Miss Aubrey Aguinagua, my star student and TA in criminal law. Ms. Aguinagua has committed her entire law school career to serving public interest and helping those who could not afford private legal counsel. At Emory, she serves as the president of EPIC and previously served as the volunteer coordinator for EPIC. She is the former president of the Latin American Law Students Association. She volunteers with the Emory Immigration Clinic, where she works with Spanish-speaking immigrants. She also has volunteered for the ACLU, as well as the Know Your Rights campaign, working with middle and high school students. She has worked as an intern for the Kinship Care Unit of the Atlanta Legal Aid Society, for the DeKalb County Public Defenders, for Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation, and for the Bronx Public Defenders. As an intern for the Georgia Reentry Project, Ms. Aguinagua helped to provide new parolees with housing and job opportunities upon their release. In many of these positions, she has encountered women, children, workers, and others who have been badly abused and neglected, as well as the incarcerated, the immigrant, and the indigent who have lost hope. She has applied her loving heart and her refined legal skills to offer them comfort, compassion, generosity, new hope, and a new pathway for a better life. It is my pleasure to present and congratulate Ms. Aguinagua as the 2022 recipient of the Mark and Rebecca Wasserman Public Service Award. Warmest congratulations to you, my friend. I'm mighty proud of you. And now, allow me to turn over the program to this year's Inspiration Award co-chairs, Ms. Trilling and Ms. Dodge.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again. First, I just wanted to start by saying congratulations to Aubrey on winning the Wasserman Award. Aubrey, your commitment to public service is something that personally inspires me to continue on a career path serving others. And I'm sure it inspires many other EPIC and Emory Law students to do the same. As Professor Woody said, my name is Madison Dodge, and I am one of the Inspiration Award co-chairs along with Elena Trilling. We wanted to take this opportunity to highlight some of the amazing work that Emory students have been able to do for their community this year so far. We asked for students to nominate their peers and give shout outs on their behalf. So we received many submissions, but here are just a few of the submissions we received. First, a shout out to 1L Rachel Hendricks, who spent her winter break volunteering for Mosaic, Georgia, where she informed victims of sexual assault and human trafficking of available civil remedies. Next, 2L Nick Smith, who is both a dual JD and MPH student, who finds time to volunteer with the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyer Foundation, do research with the Georgia Research Center, participate in fundraisers for Atlanta Legal Aid, and also serve as a mentor and house coordinator to 1L students. And then finally, 1L Daniel Shu, who took the time to volunteer at the polls this fall and demonstrated a commitment to public service, even when inconvenient and being a full-time law student.
We also got a shout out for 2L Caitlin Pinnell, who enhanced the Emory Law community by serving as an amazing mentor to 1Ls and always being willing to help others. And finally, 3L Matt Rohr organized an incredibly helpful public interest happy hour, as well as 2 pro bono research projects for the Family Equality Council.
We just want to say thank you again for all of your hard work, and also to the students who submitted shout outs to their peers. We hope that you'll continue to inspire classmates and beyond your time at Emory Law. Now we're going to hear from some students who were engaged in public service this past summer and received EPIC grants to help allow them to do that. Even as they continue to grapple with some challenging and uncertain times, these EPIC grant recipients managed to thrive while continuing to help serve others.
My name is M.K. Karcher, and I'm a 2L at Emory Law. I will graduate in May of 2023.
Hello, my name is Carson Cook. I'm a 2L, and I will be graduating from Emory Law in May of 2023.
Hi, my name is Emily Spears. I'm currently a 2L at the law school, and I am graduating with the class of 2023.
Hello, my name is Monique Mercado, and I'm a 3L at Emory Law, which means I'll be graduating soon this semester.
Last summer, I interned with the Georgia Public Defender Council, Flint Judicial Circuit, and Henry County. I assisted the juvenile public defender in protecting the rights of juvenile offenders. As a law student, child and family welfare has become my clear passion, but this is something I would not have realized without the support of the EPIC grant and the Justice John Paul Stevens Foundation.
This last summer, I interned for the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It was a judicial internship, so I was working under Administrative Judge Sipp. It was a really rewarding experience. I loved hearing and seeing the judge's perspective, as well as getting to work on real cases. Although it was during the pandemic, it was still a great opportunity. I got to have video calls with my judge several times a week, and the EEOC was actually already used to doing hearings in a virtual environment, so I got to see how that worked. And I still got to form a relationship with my other interns.
This past summer, I was an EPIC grant recipient, and I had the opportunity to intern with the DeKalb County Public Defender's Office. During this internship, I was assigned to the Superior Court, where I assisted attorneys on a variety of tasks. And throughout these tasks, I learned so much about the needs of my clients, and then also the rewards and challenges of public defense. It was also happening amongst a global pandemic, which brought its own unique challenges as I learned how to be adaptable to working sometimes remote and sometimes in person.
Last summer, when I got the EPIC grant, I interned for the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, specifically in one of their 11 sections, which is called the Immigrant and Employee Rights section. This section focuses on securing the labor rights of authorized immigrant workers who have been discriminated against on the basis of their national origin, their citizenship status, or their current legal status, and also on the basis of unfair documentary practices.
As an economically disadvantaged first-generation law student, I can't imagine getting through last summer in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, juggling a part-time job, and worrying about my health and safety. The EPIC grant and the Justice John Paul Stevens Foundation enabled me to focus on what really mattered, the important work that I was doing in Henry County. I witnessed firsthand how the COVID-19 pandemic impacted children's safety, their schooling, and their spirits. And I'm very humbled by the small role that I may have played in those children's lives.
Receiving the EPIC grant meant everything to me. It meant I was able to pursue a public interest internship, which is what I really wanted to do, especially a judicial internship, without having to worry about how I would make rent or afford groceries during the summer months.
I was so grateful to have the EPIC grant this past summer because it took a weight off my shoulders knowing how I could pay my living expenses. It really enabled me to focus on what I was doing at my internship to have that financial support. And it also meant more than that to me. I think as public interest students, we have this questions that linger over our heads as far as how can I practically do this? Or how can I stay true to myself and make everything work financially? So to have the support of people who believe in public interest students at Emory, who believe in the paths we're pursuing, and many people who have been there and done it before us and have made it work is really inspiring and meaningful to me. This experience from the past summer is something I've been able to carry into my classes, into my personal life, and into my experience this year in law school. It's really showed me so much more about the type of lawyer and advocate I want to be.
Now, getting the EPIC grant was extremely useful for me to help, and it's extremely useful for me to use towards my rent for that summer. And really, at the end of the day, the EPIC grant essentially just funded my ability to take further steps towards achieving my career goals, which is to practice humanitarian immigration law.
I intend to pursue a career in public interest long term, and receiving the EPIC grant and getting to do a public interest internship my 1L summer, I feel like has really set me up for success. It's given me experiences I can talk about on my cover letter and in other job interviews, and really inspired me to continue to pursue this career path.
And I'm so grateful to have had the EPIC grant this past summer to help make that possible, and also for the continued support it provides. Thank you.
And while my internship with the Immigrant and Employee Rights section was not humanitarian immigration law itself, my time there still nonetheless expanded my knowledge on how wide the web is of U.S. immigration laws, and I know that that will make me a more well-rounded immigration lawyer and practitioner in the future. So thank you.
I'm very thankful for the Justice John Paul Stevens Foundation, the EPIC grant, and the Emory Law community for their continued support. Thank you very much.
It's incredible to hear directly from grant recipients about the extraordinary advocacy they've been able to do for the larger community. Summer after summer, the support of the EPIC grant has enabled students to dedicate their legal education to the public interest without financial burden. This would not be possible without our generous alumni and donors, whose mentorship and support are invaluable. On that note, we're now going to hear from EPIC alumni and donors. We are thrilled to share their stories.
To me, EPIC grants is one of those circle of life type things. It does not feel all that long ago that I was a 1L, thinking about public interest opportunities and trying to figure out how I would make that work financially. And the EPIC grant supported me and gave me the chance to work at the Georgia Innocence Project and the DeKalb County Public Defender's Office. And then circle of life, I was an alum, and I was the one who was responsible for supporting the next year's students and the next year's students, and now it's the next generation of students, and I do feel a responsibility for paying it forward. In my mind, there's 3 ways I support EPIC grants. First, I try to make myself available to talk to students about careers in public interest. My door's always open, and I really make an effort to talk to them about what they could be doing with their summers. Second, Inspiration Awards, which is awesome, and that I try never to miss. And third, and most importantly, I try to be generous with my donation to EPIC, because I recognize that, being generous with my time is one thing, but if at the end of the day, if I'm not also generous with my donation, then there won't be any more EPIC grants. So that's how I support EPIC.
I'm delighted to talk about the EPIC program and how much I think about it, or think of it. I must admit that as a former recipient of an award, I'm a little bit biased. But having said that, I think it's such a wonderful way to show people the interest in public interest and to get them involved, to have students who work at places like where I work at the Atlanta Legal Aid Society. So I would heartily endorse it and hope people will continue to support it in the way they have up until now. Thanks.
My name is Claudia Saari, and I am a longtime supporter of EPIC because EPIC supports students who are pursuing careers in public interest law. By giving a small stipend to students who work in public interest agencies or firms over the summer, EPIC is providing an opportunity for the students to learn exactly how important and rewarding and fulfilling a career in public interest law can be. A public interest law career means that you are making a difference in the community. So thank you, EPIC. Thank you for inspiring this next generation of public interest lawyers who will make a difference in our world.
Well, good evening, everybody. And I want to add my thanks to everyone else. I hope that you have really enjoyed and found this inspirational. I know it's not the same as when we're in person, but I hope you got just a little taste of how meaningful this is to our students, how much the grant means to them. And so I want to thank you for joining us this evening. In closing, I want to do 2 quick things. First, some thanks to folks who made this possible. And second, I have an ask. So first, the thanks. I want to thank Dean Babinski, who is one of Public Interest's most ardent supporters here at the law school, and we always appreciate her participation. Professor Whitty for introducing our Wasserman recipient this year. Of course, EPIC President Aubrey Aguinagua, and our co-chairs for this evening, Elena Trilling and Madison Dodge, and of course the entire EPIC e-board. I work very closely with them, and I can tell you what a fantastic group of students they are. And so I applaud everything that they do, and I wonder how they find time to do that on top of their education. Next, I want to thank all the students, alumni, and friends who spoke through the videos that you heard tonight. And gave you a sense of why they support EPIC and what it means to them. Of course, we appreciate all of our donors, our full grant donors, and there are too many to list here. I do want to give a special shout out to the Justice John Paul Stevens Foundation that has helped us support a number of grants every year. And I give special thanks to a number of my colleagues who worked behind the scenes to pull off this event, Tiara Copeland and Serena Holly, who handled a lot of the logistics, Kenyatta Greer, who worked her magic with many videos that we had to work with this year, Courtney Stombach, who coordinated the invitation and works closely with me on fundraising for grants, Susan Clark for her guidance and support, and Georgette Thin, our new program coordinator. And last but not least, I want to thank all of you who've joined us, and those of you who have already made financial contributions this year. After all, what this is about is the inspirational stories and all the great work our students are doing, but much of that would not be possible without your support. We missed seeing you in person, but we hope that we'll all be back together next year. And so now I have a request for support. At this point in our in-person programs, I would ask all the students and alumni who have ever received an EPIC grant to raise their hands. And I would then ask all students who are planning to apply for an EPIC grant this year to raise their hands. And although you cannot see the hands this year, I can assure you how many there are that are up in the air virtually. Last year, we gave an amazing 43 grants totaling more than $208,000. Several additional students received grants from other sources, and we turned over every rock and stone to fund all eligible students who applied. And I can assure you that, that we want to do the same this year. I do, however, anticipate a record number of applicants this year, judging by the students who have participated in the conference and who are doing the volunteer work that's required to be eligible for the grant. And I want to fund them all, but I can't do it without your support. So as you can imagine, and as you heard in the videos, the work these students did and undertook was even more critical during the pandemic, both for their experiential learning and for the organizations and clients that they served. So for each of you who has already donated this year, thank you. Shortly, we will be posting this year's donors at the $250 and up level on the website. But if any of you can make an additional donation or make a donation if you haven't already, we'll have a slide on the screen here shortly that has a QR code that you can scan and make it directly from your phone, or you can go to the website and donate from there. If you prefer, you can simply email or call either Courtney Stambach or myself, and we're happy to help facilitate your donation. I can't underscore enough how important this is to our students and how much we want to be able to fund everyone who applies. So thank you again for supporting our students who are working so hard to make a difference in the world. And finally, I hope you'll mark your calendars for Tuesday, February 7th, 2023 for the next Epic Inspiration Awards. We hope and expect to be back in person. And we, as most of you know who are very loyal to Epic, we always do this on the first Tuesday of February. So please plan to join us next year and consider nominating outstanding public servants, particularly Emory Law alumni, for outstanding leadership in the public interest, lifetime commitment to public service, and unsung devotion to those most in need. So thank you again, and please have a good evening.